welcome to another live stream of Industry Explorers. And yeah, we are super official here. Today, we are going to talk about how to start a career in rope access. And we've got the Trevor Whipkey from Rope Technologies with us today. How are you doing, Trevor?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm hanging out in an Arby's parking lot talking to you out on the road between Kansas and Denver. So,
yeah, no, sounds good. I haven't eaten breakfast yet. So,
there you go. So,
you said I looked really dressed up, so if this makes you feel better.
You're all dressed up, and I just like rolled out of bed and I'm on like road trip mode, So
I mean,
eat away. It's not gonna bother me.
Yeah, I mean, depending on like who's wanting to see this, maybe I need to be dressed up. But for today's, I know a lot of people just dress pretty damn casual. So let's jump right into it. Hey, Pedro, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. And we've got a lot of people. We got Heidi Taylor from Houston, Texas, baby. Anyway, so yeah, guys, as you can see, we are going to answer your questions live. So leave them in the comments and we'll get them to Trevor. And we're here to help you move forward in life. So Trevor, this is what I do for all my guests. I need you to tell me your life story in 2 minutes.
Life story in 2 minutes. All right.
Boom.
I grew up in small town Kansas, southeast Kansas. Graduated high school with like 65 kids, and then I went on to college to play baseball. And other than baseball, I never really knew what I wanted to go to college for. And so after junior year, had a arm surgery, changed a lot of things for me, and so dropped out of college and then went on a little adventure, went out to Vegas for a little bit, went to California for a little bit, and then I went back to school at KU in Lawrence. And that's kind of where things somehow seem to start, as the story goes, or at least part of the story goes. But I left Lawrence, and in Lawrence I was offered an internship with Cirque du Soleil from my uncle. So nepotism helps. But I did the internship. But the good thing is like he opened the door, and well, here I am now. So something's worked out, So anyway, I did the internship, and one of the very first things I found out when I got in with Cirque du Soleil was keep your mouth shut, ears open, everything's gonna be fine. And so I kind of rode that approach for probably about 7 or 8 years. And then once I felt like I kind of got enough to start talking about stuff, and maybe I talk a little more, probably too much sometimes. So anyway, I worked with Cirque for about 5 years. I'm not watching the clock here, so I'm trying to get through this.
40 seconds.
For about 5 years. And then in 2015, I got my first level 3 in rope access. And that opened a lot of doors for me. That probably got me in through some doors that maybe I shouldn't have been, but it worked. I got out to start inspecting bridges and just get out in the real world, taking on all kinds of projects. Inspection work, maintenance work, so on.
15 seconds.
15 seconds. Worked for a whole bunch of other companies, and then like 2 or 3 years ago, I freelanced and I started Rope Tech. So that's it.
Boom.
There's a bunch in there.
A bunch of stuff, all in 5 seconds. There you go.
It's like, how do you put 10 years? How do you put 10 years into 2 minutes?
Yeah, honestly. One time I went on a date, and that is what the guy did. He goes, "Tell me your life story in 4 minutes." And I was like, what? But honestly, that is such a cool icebreaker. I loved it. I mean, some people may not like that so much, but anyway, I don't know. I'm a theater person. You're a theater guy. So how did you get from theaters to turbines? Your rope access card was like the ticket to starting anew and making that pivot.
Yeah, that was I found rope access. It's kind of like having a passport, because there's a whole lot of, various industries, between theater to engineering to, heavy industrial inspections to building stadiums. I mean, there's a bunch of different fields you can go in with ropes. Arborism, I mean, it's kind of endless. If you're a fire rescue type, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with that. What I did, I got my rope ticket, and then once I left Cirque, it just was all networking. I was pretty much sending my resume out to anybody that hey, if your company deals with ropes, that's kind of what I want to do. And so I'm like, I don't really care what I'm doing, I just kind of want to go climbing and be on ropes. I think like next month we got a project, we got part 2 of this bell tower we've been working on. We started it last year. We're going back to the bell tower, and this year we got to take care of some bees, wasps, and hornets, and an osprey nest. So we're gonna put on a bee suit and go exterminating, I guess. So whatever we'll do it on ropes. So
wow.
yeah,
Honestly, that's just not something that you typically think about when you think about a rope access job. I mean, bridges come to mind, the wind turbines come to mind, but getting rid of a bee's nest or a hornet's nest or anything of that sort, that does not really come to mind.
yeah. Well,
So
this is kind of a one-off project anyway, so it's
yeah.
not
So
something to do every day.
let's talk about some helpful certifications. You mentioned SPRAT. Can you tell us the difference between SPRAT and IRATA, and is one better than the other?
I wouldn't necessarily say one is better than the other. It just depends, what your goals are, who you want to work for, all that kind of stuff, because like I mentioned, there's kind of everybody's got their own little specialty, the guys over at Rigged International Group in Vegas, they're an IRATA company, and that's just because, they deal with a lot of clients in the oil and gas world up in Alaska, and, their clients basically require that of them. For me, I'm operating under SPRAT right now. It's a lot easier to operate under, so to say, for the company. And SPRAT's more for the technicians, whereas IRATA, it's more for a company, and it gives you a lot of structure on how to run your organization as a whole. It's just playing by, it's a pretty rigid system with IRATA. I do like it. I have my IRATA 3 cert, and it's something, I tend to probably keep. Not something I'll go without. Just because, for the most part, those certs like that between SPRAT and IRATA, that's what my livelihood is. But the difference, it all at the end of it, the certifications all kind of come out to the same as far as like skill levels go. By the end of it, you're going to learn all the same things under the SPRAT scheme or IRATA scheme.
If a company is saying that they need a SPRAT technician, or if they say they need an IRATA technician, but you have the other certification, what's your experience been in either hiring people or working with employers who have the opposite certification? Do they allow, people, does an IRATA company allow people with a SPRAT certification?
They do if you have an IRATA certification with it. So
you have to have whatever the company's asking for.
Right. And so SPRAT, they say in some of their documentation, they recognize IRATA. So if there's a SPRAT company like mine and I see somebody with an IRATA 3, hey, that's as good as a SPRAT 3 to me. So it makes it, like I said, it's just the biggest difference for me between SPRAT and IRATA is just how you operate. You just got less people to report to with SPRAT, so to say. But as far as technician goes, I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt to have all of them. Right now, there's not very many IRATA companies in North America right now. It's not a real common thing. You find a lot of them down in the Gulf, and you find them up in Alaska. But as far as like everybody else, like the big stadium gigs and all that kind of stuff, these one-off projects we're working on, that's just,
we do have viewers in Europe that are currently tuning in, which is super awesome. So is IRATA more common in Europe, in those countries?
Yeah, definitely. That's where I started. I got my level 1 in Barcelona. And it's only all IRATA.
Weird flex, but okay.
Yeah. Well, that's when I was touring with Corteo, and it's kind of cool. Sense. And so that's how I got into it. There was 2 really good level 3s on the crew, and I showed up to Corteo I was well in over my head. Like I didn't have the skill set to really be there. So mouth shut, ears open, and I just chased those guys for however long and just learning everything I could from them. And it's kind of like seeing your favorite big league ball player for the first time. You're like, man, I want to be like that guy. Anyway, as a group, I remember one week we the entire rigging crew, we went and did our level 1s, and I remember I came down with pneumonia that week, and I ended up having to go back because I couldn't finish the class because I was so sick. Turns out Barcelona was a really fun place, So yeah, that was kind of the start for me. But then, I came back to North America, and really, in the 10 years that I've been in rope access, I think I've only worked for one IRATA company. And so it's just not common. SPRAT, it's not going to get you everywhere, but most places in North America for sure. I think there's opportunity with IRATA if you get mixed in with the right company. I don't know who's doing it right now, but I think that, there is opportunity to travel abroad.
So we have a question. Oh, yeah. I wanted to see how much of the screen this is going to take up. Lars says, I got my IRATA cert a few years ago, but let it expire because it really didn't open many doors for me, and my career went in another direction. Due to COVID, that path may end. I'm looking to get back into rope access. Do you have any advice in getting work? Do you just email or call businesses? Currently a theater technician with some electrical and rigging experience, and he's located in the Netherlands. Good question. Great question.
Yeah, it's a good question. Rope access is different in Europe than it is in the States, just the way companies are structured and the way they hire their people. It's a lot more, seems to be freelance based in the UK. But, what I thought with coming out of entertainment, entertainment rigging is basically industrial rigging just shrunk down, so you got to kind of look at that stuff like chain hoist. Those are chain hoist or some sort of winch in almost every wind turbine. If you're into automation, automation is something that can take you all over the place. Just depends what you're willing to get into. Some of it's kind of dirty work, but for me, I don't necessarily mind it. But, I would say, identify the points that you're strongest at in the theater, whether it be, I don't know, working on electrics. That's a great way to get into rope access, I think, especially in the UK, but I don't want to talk too much to that because I don't really know. But, if you can hang on ropes and you can deal with electrics, I got a feeling you'll be able to make some money. That seems to be a pretty good skill set. I know in Canada, one of my buddies from Corteo, he's going through an electrical apprentice and he's got his level 3. So there's something to it.
So let me ask then, are there other certifications? I have two questions. One, are there other certifications that would help with getting into rope access? And two, where do you find rope access jobs? Personally, I look for a lot of jobs on LinkedIn, and that's actually where I go for most of my job searching. But what advice do you have for people needing other certifications and for job searching?
Job searching, the internet. For me, I would just get on Google or LinkedIn or Indeed or whatever and just look up rope companies, and then I send them an email. And my grandma used to say squeaky wheel gets the grease, and so you just very politely harass people until you get a response, I guess, because sometimes it's a little slow, but LinkedIn, I tell you what, LinkedIn is a very valuable tool as far as networking. And really, to get your name out there, really the goal for me, like I wanted to find any given time, maybe 2, 3, 4 different companies I'm working with, because part of, the benefit of what I like about rope access is not having to go to a 9-to-5 job every day,
Same.
The goal, we'll go out on a job and work a load of hours, and then, you go take a few weeks off or a month or two and, go do whatever you like to do with life. So, it depends on what company needs are. Chances are if you get into like rope access inspection work down in the Gulf, those guys will keep you running pretty much all the time. Some of it's full time. There's offshore oil, mostly in oil and gas, but then other companies, kind of like mine, we kind of just hire on an as needed basis. We're a young company, so it's like, hey, what's our staffing requirements? And then, all right, who's available? Because, I don't know, I just like the freelance thing. I think a lot of people I know, they like the freelance thing. So it kind of makes life a little easier.
I love the freelance thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my thought was there and then it left. Come back.
I think really the key is just, just get to know people. And like I said, just networking is the biggest thing. So once you get your certifications, you got your SPRAT or IRATA ticket, then depending which way you want to go, if you want to get into wind, go take a GWO class. Go see the guys at INTA and get through a GWO class. That will open a lot of doors. That's your passport onto basically any wind turbine. And that class consists. Go ahead.
Sorry, speaking of networking, I pulled back my thought. Speaking of networking, the Industry Explorers live stream, you can subscribe to us on YouTube, and we have 10 other episodes of these live streams recorded, and quite a few of them talk about networking in general, networking on LinkedIn, how to follow up, how to do job searching, like different techniques that you can use. And these principles apply to anybody, right? So the thing with the Industry Explorers live stream is that even though this content exists in the world, we are addressing people from events and entertainment specifically. And we are getting guests who know the nuances of this industry so that we can like address what you guys are going through. And so if you want to learn more about networking and job searching, I highly encourage you to check out some of our other videos. And we got another question for you, Trevor. This one comes from Alexandrine. I almost said Alexandria, but that is such a cool name. She says, I have just obtained my IRATA 1. What is the best way to approach companies to work in wind turbines? And what certifications are required in Europe? So you mentioned the GWO certification, which is popular definitely here. What other certifications are going to help people get into wind turbines, and is it different from Europe?
Well, GWO, that's the European model for climbing a turbine. And so that's where it stems from. So it's similar to IRATA, you know, it's a very kind of rigid system. But no, get your GWO and your IRATA, you'll be all over Europe. As far as I know, I'm sure there's, you know, Europe has a whole lot more certifications, a lot more behind it. So I'm sure there's going to be a load more, maybe more like task specific certifications they might put you through. But as a baseline, GWO, IRATA, that should give you a pretty good starting point. That should be able to, you know, attract some attention from companies. Then, you know, when you approach them, just, you know, give them the background and say, hey, I worked in entertainment. And, you know, for me, a lot of companies just like people that could work at height because, you know, fact of the matter is that's not for everybody. And then, you know, you kind of approach them as like, well, you know, I don't know, how many things can you do with your hands, you know? So depends what you're doing and what kind of quality quality controls are in place and what targets you got to hit. But I mean, there's a lot of opportunity. Yeah, definitely. Hopefully
you recently took a class that was about fiberglass repair.
Yeah, that's another one to add for sure. Fiberglass, that's some pretty nasty stuff. I think, you know, like rope access, like the pictures look super cool. It's all kind of glamorous, and then you actually start hanging on ropes and dealing with fiberglass, and you're probably like, well, WTF. So heads up for that. You know, just know what you're getting into with rope access. Some of it's not too much fun, but some of it is. But yeah, no, I'm just trying to add more skills, make myself more valuable, and learn more and push things along. You know.
Yeah. I mean, like think back, everybody think back on when you were first starting in the entertainment industry and you were first learning about all the different certifications that were available and different ways to get involved. It's basically like put yourself in that mindset and then approach it through the wind turbine industry or the NDT industry. You know, you just got to approach it that same way and do that due diligence and do your research. And remember when everybody is like, oh, I not only am, whether you got your ETCP or not, that's in America, but you know, some people are looking into getting their OSHA 10 or fall protection certification or what's the other one I'm thinking about? First aid certification. I mean, there's all these different things that make you more marketable. So when you are job searching, go look at the job description and see what they require of people and learn how to make yourself more marketable. The rope access ticket is just telling people that you know how to get from point A to point B, but can you do the job?
Yeah, definitely. It's it's not easy working on ropes, that's for sure. But no, that's a good point. I mean, OSHA 10, OSHA 30, depending on your role, that's another cert that you got to have here in America, pretty well all across the board. And I had a thought that I was going to add, but I forgot what it was, so I lost it too.
Oh, it's all good. Your buddy Connor says, "Hey, Trevor," and he agrees.
I haven't talked to you in a while.
Blade repair is all about fiberglass repairing. And he also says, approach companies on a regular basis. Work comes up regularly. And if you are in the mind or on the desk of the hiring person, you will get a start.
Yeah, just keep a bug in there. That's really it. Just keep
research the company and show you know a little about their field. Damn, Connor, let's have you on this thing. Be relevant. Thank you, Connor. Oh my gosh. I think I'm about ready to like send Connor a link to come join us because damn, that's some good advice, man. I love it.
Yeah, Connor's been around a while.
Yeah.
He's been around a while for sure. No, I mean, that's it. Like I said, I think the biggest key is networking and, you know, making yourself presentable. You know, it's really, you know, I remember I was doing a rope access evaluation once a few years back, and the evaluator came in and said, hey, I'm basically looking for people that I want to work with, that I want to take jobs with me or on jobs with me, you know? And so it's really, it's got to have a good head on your shoulders. And, some companies, not all rope companies I found out are created equally. You can get yourself in a really bad situation real quick. So with that being said, don't ever be afraid to walk away from a bad situation if you find yourself in one, because this whole thing with rope access for me, it's like all about comfort. You can be in some pretty precarious spots, but once you start feeling a little uncomfortable, okay, hold on here, let's pump the brakes. So
yeah. So speaking about being comfortable and not getting in bad situations, let's talk about rescue. So when you do the SPRAT or the IRATA courses, at each level you have to know a little bit. You have to know a certain level of rescue techniques. There's different exercises and requirements for levels 1, 2, and 3 for both certifications. Is there additional rescue training or like an additional rescue kind of class or certification that people should maybe look into taking?
Rescue with rope access. The rescues we do in rope access are all just improvised rescues. It's not like proper rescue training. So if you're looking for more of that's more like what the fire department guys deal with, like the elevated safeties, those kind of companies. So if you're looking for more like proper technical rescue training, then you want to go check out I don't know, the guys at Ronin or Elevated Safety, or those kind of guys. They do a lot more of that stuff. I think that's a little beyond. I don't really dip into that world because I'm not a firefighter. I probably understand most of the rescue stuff, but it's just it's like a kind of a cousin of what we're doing. So but it's really, for me, it's like with the rescue stuff and rope access, it's all kind of like the same rescues, just turn different directions. And so it's like once you understand a couple of concepts, then you can get anybody down and call it a rescue. That's really what you're doing. But with rope access, it's all the rescue planning happens before you even get on ropes and all that stuff. And for me, it's like my last resort, those rescues that we have to do in class, those are kind of like last resort, so I'm going to try, first off, I'm going to try to rig my way out of problems. I'm going to try to get at the anchors and, do whatever I can do up there before I happen to get on ropes and do something. So, Lars, what's he's got to say?
So would you advise getting your IRATA/SPRAT cert first, or look around for companies that do rope access and see if they might invest in paying for classes for you? That's a good question.
That's a good question. And there's some companies that do. And I think, at least in North America, you're supposed to legally be trained. But the thing is, that rope ticket stays with you and not your company. So that's kind of a slippery slope. I would say, you're going to keep the rope ticket, everywhere I've worked, at least. Maybe some companies hold it somewhere, I don't know. But you're going to keep the rope ticket. So I don't know. I could see that going either way. Some companies, there are plenty of companies that provide that kind of training for their employees. So, I mean, if you can find it and you can save the bucks, then go for it. But also, on the other hand, the good thing about a rope access class, it's, I think these days they're around $2,000 in the States. But, consider that to a 4-year university, you're going to get a pretty quick ROI. So, it's got its perks, right? It's like you sink yourself $100K in debt, or, go climb the ropes for a while, then go to college, make some money you can make climbing on ropes.
Yeah. And here's another thought. Like you said, that ticket stays with you wherever you go. And especially if you're doing a lot of freelance stuff or the work comes up as needed, then I would suggest to go ahead and get that rope access ticket. And then at that point, you can see if there are additional certifications or additional training that certain companies need, and then see if they'll invest in those other trainings, such as first aid, or such as confined space, or the fiberglass repair, or anything else that you can think of. So
I'd say if you're a freelancer, you probably should take care of that stuff by yourself. But if you're trying to go full time with a company, then I would almost expect the company to do it for you.
Yeah. And Connor's got a really good point too. He says you're more attractive and, well, thank you. No, I'm just kidding. You're more attractive and employable if you have shown a willingness to invest in yourself. And definitely a really good point.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to ask, have you taken any confined space training or conducted confined space training yourself? And yeah, how does confined space training fit into all of this?
Well, for me, when I deal with confined spaces, mostly it's in wind turbines. But like I've done a couple of confined space classes, and I've done enough confined space classes to know that I don't like confined space. So
Yeah.
turns out I might be a little bit claustrophobic in certain situations. So I'm pretty, I stay away from that stuff.
Do you
Um,
spend more time in the tube of the wind turbine or on the blades?
Well, it depends what the job is. I mean,
Yeah.
we were last year in Colorado, we were painting the inside of turbines. And then, another gig after that, we were hanging out on the blades, slapping VGs.
Uh-oh. There goes the internet. Hey, did we get you back? Are you back with us?
Oh, sorry. I had a phone call come in. I'm doing all this on my phone. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. No worries. Hey, it's really good that like you're out and about. You're on a job site right now, aren't you?
Well, no, I'm on my way to a job site. So I'm today's just travel day. I'll be in Denver tomorrow and doing some training the next 2 weeks. So
yeah, I think that is absolutely wonderful. Oh my gosh, my camera keeps shaking.
What happened when COVID kicked off this year? I know especially in Las Vegas, it definitely has taken a huge toll. On people near and dear to me, and there's a lot of people. Kind of an interesting story. We had last job we did a job for Vestas, and we brought along a couple of acrobats from Cirque. They came in and got their level ones, and I mean, it's incredible. Like the thing with them, it's like they're extremely athletic, very strong, extremely coachable, and I mean, they just jumped right in it. And I mean, it was pretty cool to see. We get up tower. I don't know, like day one, and one of them that was with us, she over to me. She goes, "Trevor, this." Said, "What do you mean you hate this?" She goes, "I just don't like being here. I hate this." I said, "Don't worry." Then the next day we came back and, we get a little further along, get a little more into it. And next thing, she's wanting to do handstands on top of the nacelle and we're having to calm her down. So how much
is so awesome.
Oh,
I love that.
So no, it was cool. But I mean, I don't know. It's just, there's, right now with entertainment, for me, there's a lot of high potential people that, that are available if, they're willing to make the jump. And like I said, I've already seen just some really incredible results already of people doing it, and it's pretty cool. I think rope access right now, and the worlds that I'm kind of dealing in, especially wind industry, they're having a huge year, and not saying I don't know, it's not difficult to infiltrate the wind industry right now, if you get capable. So
yeah. So Eric makes a good point. If you are a member of IATSE Stagehands Union, the International will reimburse you for SPRAT Level 1 certification up to $1,600. So that's really good information to know. Definitely go check in with your unions and see, how they can help out, how they can help fund you. And even if you can't get that funding, if you make that investment in yourself, like Trevor said, once you get out on those rope access jobs, you get a huge return on investment, especially if you want to start comparing it to getting a college degree. All right. $2,000. I don't even know, $100,000. I don't even know how much college, costs anymore. Anyway, we've got another question. I really like this question. Do you have any recommendations to pass the GWO in Europe? Which institute is the most interesting?
Oof. No, I have no idea.
Yeah. So, but you know what? Let's at least talk about recommendations for passing any sort of certification.
Well, I mean, it's show up, try, and ask your questions. Don't act like you know everything, and don't be the complete opposite. Don't be too timid to even ask questions. I do a pretty fair amount of training these days, and you can always tell the people that are engaged. You can tell the people that are like the light bulb's on, they get it, and then you can tell the people that want to get it, and you can tell the people that just don't care. But it's just, you got to realize with this training, you get into a training environment, like that's your place to make mistakes. That's your place to make up, get in jams, work your way out of it, think about it, and for me, when I'm training, I'll let people, not get too far, away from it. Struggle a little bit. That's how you learn, so
yeah, definitely. Like, don't be afraid to fail when you're in those training environments. That is a safe place. You don't need to be don't be afraid to fail, because when you make a mistake and you get yourself in a jam, when you figure out how to get out of it, you're probably not going to make that mistake again. Or at least if you do, you know how to get out of it. Yeah, and there's a lot of resources available online. I know that there's this new like a rope access podcast. I think it's just called the Rope Access Podcast. I'll have to include a link below after this live stream. So, but you can look at animatedknots.com, go do some YouTube searches. Honestly, before I failed my first SPRAT evaluation 5 years ago, and then I took it again this year. And prior to doing my class, I was watching YouTube videos for hours, just watching people do rescues over and over and over, just watching people how to do. I didn't even think I needed to know how to do a figure 9 knot, but I said, oh, why not? I've heard of it before. I heard it's a really good one. And turns out I did need to know that one. So, practice, 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 watch, just implement any sort of repetitive exercise that's going to help you remember really important concepts. And once you're in that training environment, don't be afraid to fail. So I'm really sorry that we're not I'm sorry we're not able to really answer the more European centered questions. Although, because we are getting a lot of those questions, I will have a guest come on who does rope access in the European nations. So thank you for asking such great questions. Here's another. Connor is suggesting to go to www.globalwindsafety.org. Thank you, Connor. I haven't been on that website yet, but Trevor, what are some of the companies that people should be looking up to get into all these trainings? Hold on. Actually, let me answer that real quick.
All
Boom.
Right.
Go to www.ropetechnologies.com. That's Trevor's website. He is the owner of Rope Technologies. He conducts a lot of the SPRAT classes and safety trainings. I can hear you, Trevor, but we lost your camera for a second.
Yeah, my phone's telling. Yeah, my phone's overheating, I guess. I've never had that happen before.
No worries. So there's a lot of places where people can go. Here's another one that's coming in from Ryan. Go to absalon.com// uncontrolled descent, the free fall of the rope access industry. I've never been to that website, so I'll have to check that out. Some other places that you can go in the United States for training is you can go to ENSA, you can go to GME Supply, you can go to I think Pacific Ropes. There's Trevor, hey.
Yeah, can you hear me? I'm still
I can hear you. Where are some other places that people can go for training?
Well, I tell you the truth, a group I really like is Riggin International Group in Las Vegas. You come see me, you go see INSA. They put on a good training. There's a little more and more of these shops popping up. If you want to find, there's something probably in your region at the least. There's PMI in Denver and Elevated Safety in Chicago, and there's little companies. Seems like more and more every day is a new one's popping up somewhere. So
yeah. Oh, real quick, going back to this website, globalwindsafety.org. Connor says that this is the full list of GWO training providers in the world. Fucking awesome resource, Connor, man. Connor, when are you going to come on my show, man? Damn, dude. Cool. So Lars says, I'm just hesitant since last time I invested in my IRATA cert, it really didn't do much for me, but I was more green then and didn't have the extra skills I have now. Yes. Once again, the rope access card is going to show people that you know how to get from point A to point B, but think back on when you were starting in the entertainment industry. Everybody wanted their CM motor cert or any motor certification. People wanted to get their first aid certification. People wanted to get that arena ETCP, the electrical ETCP cert, OSHA 30, OSHA 10, and now Event Safety Alliance has some new classes that you can take. So yeah, having the extra skills and is going to help make you more marketable.
Yeah. But rope access is just kind of like it's sort of like your ride to work. Then you got to be able to do something when you get there, so.
Yeah. What is this comment?
Oh, Connor, Altius. Yeah, love you, buddy.
Is that his company?
Yeah. You're down in New Orleans. I don't know. It's been a while since.
Malins? That's awesome.
You'd think New Orleans and Las Vegas would be more similar, but they're nothing alike. Just like the whole party thing.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they're not. So anyway,
I can't wait till this COVID stuff when we're a little bit more back to normal, because now I need to compare Vegas and Nolans. I need to make that comparison now that you've made that comment.
Just don't. Yeah, like I said, they're nothing.
Trevor, no offense, man, but I am a little bit younger than you. I am still in my party years, so. Although I'm not the one with the hangover today.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh man. So this live stream is definitely different from our previous ones because Trevor and I, we know each other. We've known each other longer than I've known any of my other previous guests, which is awesome because then we can kind of shoot the shit a little bit. It's a lot of fun. I'm really glad you guys are here to join us. I'm really glad you guys are giving us all your comments and questions. It's super awesome. Hey, Heidi, good to see you. I will be taking my dual L1 class in a few weeks with Altius Connor. Oh, nice. Very nice. Oh, we're adding to our party list, man. Let's get back on track here. Let's get back on track and let's talk about. I'm gonna leave this link up so that people can check out this great resource. And all right, let's talk about what to expect on your first. Wow, I can't talk today. What to expect on your first rope job?
Depends what you get into, but
all right.
And once you got your ticket in your pocket, you're going on your first job, you're going to find out, chances are, just how hard it is to work on ropes. I mean, it's not easy. Then what you do in the training center is kind of the basics, and you got in the field and then you get problems thrown at you, and then all the problem solving comes in, and that's what's fun for me. Is just being up, moving around, having ropes running through my hands and solving problems. If I can be doing that stuff, I'm going to be a pretty happy camper.
Yeah.
But some people absolutely love it. Some people get on their first rope gig. I was working on Raider Stadium last year and had a couple of green guys on the crew, actually. And one of them shows up just really timid. And I get it. He, just scared. Because, stadiums especially are kind of intimidating things.
Yeah.
We sure. Things. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. But, some people just take to it like fish in water, and other people, it takes them a little time. For me, I was probably on the latter half of that. I remember my first rope class. I was in Cirque had Rope Works come to Paris, and I remember it was Dave Nettle and Nathan Schuster come in, and it was kind of like a blended class. They were kind of catering to the level 3s in the class as well. And for me, I could barely open a carabiner this time, and so.
Wow, yeah.
So I don't know. The first job, like I said, depends what you get into. It definitely, you're going to be challenged. I'd say definitely expect that. And depending on how long the job goes, like I said, stadiums, especially, those are physical jobs. I think I was walking like 17,000 steps a day, and I don't know, climbing up about 50 flights of stairs on top of all the climbing ropes we were doing. But what I really like about it is it keeps me in shape. I don't got to go to the gym. And so if you're climbing ropes all the time, you're going to be pretty strong.
Mm-hmm. And if you are thinking about how to get into shape before you start doing rope access, first of all, like Trevor said, it's going to get you in shape. But if you are the type of person who wants to go to the gym and continue doing exercises that are going to strengthen you up, like me, split lunges. The split lunge squats are really good. Pistol squats are really good. Any kind of squat is going to be amazing for you. And core work. I'm not just talking about these abs right here. Your core involves way more muscles. So if you do any sort of core exercise, that's really going to help you out on ropes, because a lot of times you're right here on your ascender, and it's going to want to naturally, if you relax, you're going to want to tilt backwards. So you need to engage your core to kind of lift yourself upright. Just throwing in a little fitness stuff for you guys. Hey, since we've got such great engagement, if you guys have any exercises that you like to do to strengthen you for your rope access work, let me know. Let us know in the comments below, because I'm super curious. I'm really into that kind of thing.
I pretty much just push-ups, pull-ups, and I'll do a little That's it. I'll do, I don't know, probably, I don't know, about anywhere between 80 to 100 push-ups a day, then probably about 30 to 40 pull-ups. So
Hell yeah, yeah. Work on those boulder shoulders. Get
okay.
your back involved.
Well, that's all rope stuff is. I mean, you're like, you
Yeah.
gotta wait, and that's where guys like Pierre Luc and Kyra did so well, the acrobats, because they're just so strong, like moving their bodies around, and they get just such good control over it. Like, wasn't no thing. Bigger guys I've seen really struggle in rope access. I mean, 230, 250 pounds, that's a lot of weight to move. For me, I hang out about 170 so I can manage it pretty well. But,
yeah,
be tough. You
yeah.
have shape going into your first rope job.
Here's a really great comment from Ryan. He says, what about lifestyle changes after getting into rope access? Physical and mental health to be better in the air, stretching programs, ergonomics, finger dexterity, training and awareness, changing the way you look at life and move on the ground. I think that's a really great question with a lot of really great comments. Yes, not only are we talking about physical strength, but we're talking about mental toughness. Like Trevor said, this isn't for the faint of heart. So, and stretching is such an important thing. A lot of people think fitness is just about strength training, but a lot of it, you have to make sure you're not getting any muscle imbalances, especially if you're not going to the gym and you're like working on symmetry and you're working the muscles the same. You got to stretch that out, because if you have muscle imbalances, you're going to start to have posture problems. You're going to get stiff and none of that's good. So, but let's talk about the lifestyle changes once you are getting a lot of rope access jobs. Trevor, what's it been like for you? You've been doing this for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's led to a lot of good opportunities. It's led to, meeting a lot of exciting people, going to a whole lot of cool places. In January next month, it looks like I think my entire family is going to be going out on the road with me, and my family, we were like 80 days straight over the summer. Like, we were up in Wisconsin training, and then took a few other, went out to California for a little bit, and went down to Reno for a little bit, and so I mean, it's not. That's the best part of it, because it's like when I'm home, I'm 100% home, other than a little bit of paperwork I do, whatever. As far as I got on the job, you mentioned mental health. Man, it's a grind. For me, you get 30 days in a project, and you're tired of working with the guy that you're next with, and you're rubbing elbows with him, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and there's honestly a lot of these projects you get into, like, it seems cool being in a wind turbine, but it's not all that much fun. And so it's like, I remember we were painting these things last year, the interior turbines, and it's like 8 hours a day. We're hanging off ropes, scraping these turbines by hand with just this drone, It was just demoralizing, to be entirely honest. Like, come out of there, just it's like, man, walking back from the edge.
Yeah. Hey, a lot of us are masochists, right? A lot of us like to inflict pain upon ourselves, and if you can think back on some of your rigging jobs, or those 16-hour days, or the overnight shifts, or going from one job to the next and you don't stop for 30 hours, that's a lot of what stagehands are used to. So, you don't mind scraping a little bit on, you don't mind those you guys, like, when I think of entertainment workers, I think you guys are already mentally tough. You guys already go out and do such hard work that this seems like a really easy transition. But, if you're not used to that kind of work, then it is good to know about the demoralizing projects. It's good to know that it's going to be a grind. It's good to know that sometimes you're going to be doing something really monotonous for who knows how long the project lasts, and you've just got to stay in it. You got to stay focused. Don't get complacent, because when you get complacent, then that's when accidents happen. So.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm one of those people. I need a certain level of physical activity in my life, and I just need to get my ass kicked. Like those days where you just drive home, you don't even turn the radio on, but accomplish something. That stuff. I had a desk job for about 3 weeks. Not for me. So
I love this comment, Ryan. This is just golden. I love it. Climbing is sadism, and sadists need hobbies. I think I'm gonna put that one on a t-shirt for you guys. That sounds hilarious.
It's a grind too. I can already see the miles adding up on my body. I'm only 35, not 18 anymore. And so, we talked about stretching earlier. I'll get to, like, I don't know, day 2 or 3 on a job where we're hitting it pretty hot and heavy, and I'm feeling it. Like, you definitely got to get a good stretch in before you start rolling. But got to take care of your body on these things. I mean, you're going to come out bumped and bruised and banged up anyway, just from the physical, just the, just it being itself. So I know like a lot of guys do a really good job taking care of themselves, get off work and go take an Epsom salt bath and eat their veggies, all that stuff. Other people, man, it can be a little scary because, those guys that are out at the bars every night. And, so
I mean, bars are fun, but it's, I definitely would like to see more, people who are in laborious jobs to pursue more of a healthy lifestyle. We're not about sex, drugs, and rock and roll anymore. But we can keep the rock and roll, keep the sex, but drugs, unless it's like, unless the drugs are doing something good for you, you know what I mean? But that's where I stand. Anyway, let's not get into that. Let's talk about, speaking of keeping your body in good condition, how do you battle strong winds and extreme colds? I need this advice for sure. I'm a Cali girl, so I'm just like, I don't know. How do you do it? How the hell do you do this?
You don't know. You get down. It's really easy to get blown around on ropes. Doesn't take much. So usually about 25 miles an hour. That's about the cutoff.
Okay.
Extreme colds, you wear a lot of clothing. My buddy Mike, he bought a heated jacket to wear out on the blades because, we were in Sioux Falls. This is just when the seasonal change was coming, and getting a 15-mile-an-hour wind on your back at 30 degrees for 4 or 5 hours at a time, that's going to cool you off a little bit. So bundle up, get full socks. I don't know, whatever you think. For me, I'll wear a lot of thermals. I'll go out like 4 or 5 layers on. So.
I have I just, I'm a Cali girl, but I recently moved to the Midwest, and my boyfriend actually has heated battery powered socks. So like, I can't, part of me I can't wait to try them out, but at the same time, I don't want to try them out because then that means I'm going to be in the cold. But I'm a tough person. I will verbally bitch about how I hate the cold. Okay. But anyway,
mentally tough, you know what I mean? Because that's part of the grind. You're going to be, you go on a wind project, chances are you'll be out there 4 to 6 weeks, and you got 4 to 6 weeks of you out there every day hanging off that blade in that cold with that wind hitting you. So like that'll mess with you mentally.
Are you a big fan of Gore-Tex?
I don't necessarily know if I go out of my way for it, but want to keep some water off it seems like a pretty good way to go.
When I think of like clothes that are going to be waterproof, that's the first thing I think of. But what are some other, I guess, brands that you look for when you're looking to have some waterproof gear?
Usually like the outdoor brands, like the Patagonias, like those kind of brands. They produce like really high quality stuff that you can take on a job site and give it a beating. I got Patagonia pants that I've had for like 6 or 7 years now that I still wear on job sites. I just patch up the holes and gear works pretty well. But more and more, I'm tired of like ruining expensive outdoor gear, and I found out Carhartt is pretty good quality as well. So I'm getting more and more Carhartt on my fashion.
Ryan adds from a previous comment, momentum climbing gyms give free climbing to anyone who can show they are a rigger, rope access work, or in the vertical world in any way, including downriggers. Cool. Oh, give free. Oh, I see. Free, yep. Like a free climbing pass or something. Momentum climbing. That's a specific gym. Cool. That go look that up. See what kind of not coupons. I was hoping for like a more cool word to use, but anyway, REI brand is a little more affordable than Patagonia, the North Face, etc. REI, that's another good brand when you're looking into waterproof gear or even UV protection, moisture wicking, anything of that sort. Eric Santos asks a good question. What is it like for women in the industry?
You're seeing more and more of them pop up. I remember like 3 years ago in Atlanta, Lauren Anders, she's based out of BC. That girl is a badass on ropes. I remember at her rig right in the middle. We were doing pipe fitting. We were out of like 300 feet up in this big box. And I had her rigged right in the middle of the box, and she was just bouncing from like team to team, helping these big old pipe fitting guys get their stuff done. And it made it cool to watch. It's definitely a very male dominated world, that's for sure. And I think You got to be smart about where you're putting people, I think, and personalities and all that stuff. Reality is some rope guys, but some people in general are a little rough around the edges. And, being on a job site, yeah, you're probably going to hear some stuff that you might not appreciate.
Yeah.
And I think everybody if you're on a job site, you got to kind of have a thick skin to begin with.
Yeah, and I was actually recording a podcast yesterday with Tom Wood, and we were talking about gallows humor as a coping mechanism for. He does mountain rescue, so they use humor to kind of cope with some really, really dark stuff. But at the same time, he is extremely respectful of people that are different from him. It doesn't matter skin color, gender, whatever. Like, diversity is good, and it's good that we're all like. A lot of industries are heading in that direction, but I will, as a female, I'll speak on what it's like for me. I come from entertainment rigging, and I've worked in a bunch of different venues, from arenas to studios and convention centers. I haven't done anything with rope access other than take the course. So I'm also, like you guys, in the transitional stage, getting started. But when it comes to like that kind of uprigging in the United States, I'm busting my butt. I am busting my ass, trying to keep up with the guys, making like I out of the corner of my eye, I'm always watching to make sure I pull as many points as the guys, or I'm doing as much as the guys, if not more. So it's a lot of really, really tough work, right? But when it comes to rope access, so far my experience has been everything's all about mechanical advantage. So I can rescue someone that is 3 times my size and do it successfully. So it seems, with my limited experience, it seems like in rope access, you definitely are working smarter, not harder. Yeah, it's a grind. Yeah, it's really labor intensive, but you're working smarter, and you're using that mechanical advantage to work for you. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I just, I shoot the shit with the rest of the guys, and, you just, I don't know. I mean, just go be a badass. Like, just go be a badass person and let your work speak for itself, and people will respect you. And if they don't, well, then just, you should tell your supervisor, and that those kind of people don't belong on job sites anymore. I'm sorry, but women can do whatever the fuck we want. In case you were wondering. Connor says they work almost constantly, and they are generally smarter and have less ego than men.
Women are definitely smarter than men. I think it was myself, Pierre, Luke, and Mike, and then we brought Kyra in the mix. And I don't know how to say it. Like, she just having a woman with us, it just sort of changed the whole dynamic for the better. And it was really, I don't know, it was a nice dynamic between the 4 of us. And so it's kind of actually a little bit refreshing. Just, I don't know. I'm not really sure how to put it in words what I mean exactly. So it's been cool. So that's something I like. Kyra, I remember watching her go up a rope, man. She just looks like a little butterfly bouncing up a rope, makes it look easy.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Ryan says that smooth is fast in the air, and females typically climb smoother than guys.
Yeah, no, I usually do. Well, because guys, we're all trying to like bicep curl everything.
And yeah, and like sorry, go ahead.
Use the big muscles to lift with instead of us trying to use our bicep.
Yeah. If you're climbing in rope access for the first time, don't try to bicep curl everything. It's actually more about the lower body strength and the core strength than it is, the upper body strength.
Use your upper body, use your big muscles, use your shoulders, your lats, like the big muscle in your back. Don't try to do everything with your biceps.
Hey Tony, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so glad you liked my comment. I don't like being a polarizing person, but this is definitely something I strongly believe in. So I will share my opinion. Hey, let's do a little transitioning here. Heidi says Petzl Zigzag, although it's a great tool for arborists, could it be a great tool in rope access? And Ryan replied with, I don't like the Zigzag because I don't believe it has midline attachment capability. You have to insert the end of the rope in. So what are your thoughts on the Petzl Zigzag?
I've seen it, and from what I understand, it's like a mechanical prusik. I've never used it. I've never found a need for it, I guess. So I don't know. I'm not that one. I don't know. I'm sure that, if you wanted to, you could find some place for it in a rope. But that's for me. I just need the arborist messing with that. The arborists, they climb a little bit different than we do in rope access. So it's kind of like we're doing, So
yeah. Let's talk about tools. Let's talk about rope access tools. What are some of your favorites?
Well, I use a lot of Petzl. I've been trying some new stuff lately, but I picked up a Petzl Maestro. That thing is sweet. That thing, man, so much you can do with that. It makes life so much easier. But typically, like off the cinders, I'm still on the rig. I like it. It's lightweight. It's compact. I don't need to worry so much about mechanical advantage with it. So it does everything I need it to. But what's cool right now? There's like so much innovation happening with the industry. There's companies like Harken that's putting out some cool stuff. Petzl, their 2020 line, they're putting out some new stuff. So, yeah, I mean, it's in the 10 years that I've been doing it, I started when we were still using the shunt for a backup. So, I don't know, it's just kind of cool to see the industry progress and just the innovation that's happening with, some of the manufacturers. And, a lot of them, they do a really good job at, listening to feedback from people in the field. So, they're really putting together just really smart pieces of kit these days.
Yeah. One of my favorite tools is the ISC holler beaner. I love that for rescues because it's got so much mechanical advantage, and it really makes it easy for me to get someone off of their gear in order to complete a rescue. That's one of my personal favorites. And yeah, Petzl IDs all day, every day. I just like rappelling, like just to be completely honest. And it's just such a good piece of gear. Ryan, go ahead.
Your harness that I take everywhere is a Leatherman. I mean, just easy enough. Stick back your harness and they'll solve all our problems for you.
Yeah. Ryan says the Rope Runner Pro or Akimbo is better, but those devices are more for experts. They do slip and don't always self-tend. All arborist ascending is usually meant to be used with a foot and knee ascender. There you go. Yeah. There you go. I need some more guests, man. Hey, maybe what we should do is do like a group discussion on this. We'll do a start a career in rope access part 2, and we'll have some of you guys come join us. That'd be fun.
I get a hold of Rich Attier. He's a good guy to talk to about arborism. He knows all kinds of stuff about arborism and worked for ISC. You'll probably meet him in the next few weeks, I'd imagine, anyway. So nice.
Yeah. So this is something that you mentioned when we, as a topic of discussion, believing in yourself. This is a really tough. This work is really tough. So how do you, just in general, how do you build up your confidence and your self-worth, and how do you believe in yourself?
Well, I'm not like, I don't want to go get too cosmic or, hippy dippy or anything like that. But, the way you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
I was going through this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And kind of one of the things that stuck with me from that, it said a statement closes the mind, a question opens the mind. So instead of saying, I can't do this, the question is, how do I do this? You know what I mean? Me, for the past, I don't know, probably 7 years, I've been chipping away at this for a while to, what's got me to here. But, probably about at least the past 7 years, I've been asking myself the same question over and over. So how to make a rope company. So, I'm starting to get some success and have some traction and figure it out a little bit. And so now I'm starting to ask other questions. It's, how do I, get another stream of income? How do I, achieve some more, maybe little higher goals, so to say. But, like I said, it's just once you realize that like you are in control of your entire life and you can do anything, it's really, if you can see it in your mind and then, you ask for it the right way, some people call it prayer or meditation, whatever you want to call it. As long as you're focused on it, I guess. Then all you do is come up with a plan and execute, start taking steps. And it's like, don't think that everything's going to happen overnight. Patience. That's another one that I've learned is patience. Like it takes time to build stuff. It takes time it takes time to, establish yourself. Like this whole rope access drum. My whole thought was I'm just gonna start beating this drum till people start dancing. And, it's kind of somewhat working, I guess. But it's just, it's staying at it and just having the patience to see it through. A lot of people come up with great ideas, but it doesn't mean nothing without execution. So
yeah.
Really,
Yeah, definitely.
in a nutshell, I don't know.
No, I think those are all really good points. Guys, check out our video. It's called Gratitude and Goals with Lori Seitz. It's on the Industry Explorers YouTube channel. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to all the videos and subscribe to our channel. That's how I can help bring more great content to you and help you guys move forward in life. So she talks a lot about having gratitude and different techniques to internalize that, because what is going on inside of you is what's going to project outward. And no matter how good your poker face is, if you are super negative, that's gonna come out in some way through micro expressions or through, I don't know, the way you respond to something or the way you perceive things. And as far as negative self-talk goes, we are all about mitigating hazards and eliminating hazards, right? So if you can do that for fall protection, why can't you do that with your negative self-talk? If you find yourself saying negative things about yourself, you are recognizing that hazard, now mitigate it. Take that negative talk and turn it into something positive. Instead of saying, I can't do XYZ, say, how do I do XYZ? Or if you say I can't do something or I don't do something, I won't do something, get rid of the nots in your sentences. don't know a knot tie a lot. That also applies to negative self-talk, right? Get rid of the knots in your sentences, because that's going to it perpetuates that negative self-talk. So get rid of the knots in your sentences and ask questions instead of statements. I love that you brought that up, because I always think about just taking something negative and turning it into a positive, but I've never thought about doing it with a question. So good advice, Trevor. Thank you so much for that.
There's a part of it, just having, like, I guess, a self-esteem to go for it. You know what I mean? If it's like you just kind of find something you kind of like, and then just go all in on it and see what happens. People think 3 to 5 years is a long time, but it's not. 40 years is a long time to be broke.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, if you're gonna do it, just go all in. Stay patient and just chip away every day. Just set, for me, I got like little 30 minutes habits I do every day. Not every day, but try to do it pretty consistently, and it just kind of sets my day up for a little better success. So it's just that routine and
nice.
So
nice. Yeah, I think talking about routine and habits is going to be a really good topic for a future live stream. Let's go back to tools real quick. How do you attach and use the Leatherman safely at heights?
What I've done, I got on Amazon, and I got one of those, like the janitor keyring things, like the little so I got like the biggest one I could find, and I just keep it on like a little janitor keyring. And then that keyring, it'll fit through an attachment on the Leatherman. But also, phones at height, those are something I see all the time. People pulling out their phone and they're setting 300 feet up on an I-beam and their phone's loose in their hand, and so for that, what I've done, 3M makes like these little, it's like a little plastic, they call it like a D-ring, I think, but it's like a little plastic sticker. You stick it on the back of your phone, they make a tether for it as well. And so doesn't take too much to find. You can find it all on Amazon, but yeah, I don't know how many phones I've seen get dropped.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, yeah, it's one of those things that drive me nuts, so whatever.
Yeah, no. So Ryan has a great question. When do you guys start mentally preparing for a big job with complex rigging?
As soon as I know about the job. Like stadiums, for example, that's, you're going to be in for it pretty much every day. You're going to walk in there and, you might have a smooth day, but physically you're still going to get it handed to you. So, I grew up, I played baseball all the way up to college. And so I take a lot of what I did with baseball preparation mentally. I do a lot of visualization. I'm just trying to kind of thinking through things, at least the best you can. Then obviously, a lot of times what will happen, you'll get started on the job, and then you'll go home after dinner or out for dinner with the guys, and you kick around some ideas like, hey, maybe we could rig this tomorrow this way, or you kind of, I don't know, always getting ahead a little bit, so to say. If you're with a good team that's on it, I guess. But it's, I don't know, it's just, you got to know what you're up against. Sometimes it's a sprint, sometimes it's a marathon, and so I don't know. really about it, I guess. Just know that whatever happens, I'm gonna get through it. It's gonna suck. I'll get through it.
Yeah. So even if you plan to have a project last for 2 weeks, but it ends up lasting 4 or 6 weeks or more, how do you cope with that disappointment?
Yeah,
Because we all want to go home.
yeah.
And when our projects get extended, it's like, all right.
Yeah, no, that's what just happened to us pretty much. We were supposed to be in Sioux Falls for like, I don't know, I think we had a plan for like 2 or 3 weeks and ended up going like 6, and wife and kids at home, find out we're staying longer, it just hurts a little bit. And so I don't know. I mean, for me, it's just, I'm in more of like a leadership position. And so, as a leader, especially going on these wind jobs, like the biggest part of my job is just keeping people happy, and so it's so, call it acting or lying or whatever, but you just put on a happy face and just try to cheer everybody else up. So I guess it's, perspective really. So it's all, I think if you worry about the people around you, it takes your mind off of the shit you got going on and makes it a little better. So.
Yeah. And as far as work-life balance goes, I really appreciate a comment you made earlier that when you're home, you're 100% home.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the best part. And a lot of people, they go do really exciting stuff with their time off. A lot of rope access people are like those rock climbers that live out of their vans anyway. So they'll go climb Yosemite for months or whatever.
Yeah.
I just like the freedom. I mean, it's, I don't, you kind of think about the way things are lined up right now. It's like, you're supposed to work till you're like 65 or 70 and then you retire. And then, life expectancy is like what, 75 or 78, something like that. So it's like, you're telling me I only got 10 years to really, get what I want out of life. So I don't know. That doesn't work for me. And so I want to, do the cool stuff here at my 30s and,
Yeah, I love that. Heidi, great question. I like the idea of stadium work. How could I get into that, and what all are you doing?
I don't think there's any more stadiums coming up for a few years. From what I understand, could be wrong. There's probably a little bit, but the big construction, the next one's gonna be down in Miami. So basically, the good part about stadiums is it's usually a really big call. I remember in Atlanta, I think there was like GRA had like 40 or 50 techs up in the air any given night. So really, and it was if you got a pulse and a rope ticket, sometimes that alone will get you places. Just put it that way.
Reminds me of like doing rigging work on the big festivals when they just call anyone and everybody, and you get like some construction worker or someone who's like never done any of this stuff before. I remember we were sitting in pipe and some guy's like, I'm watching him. We're on scaffolding and I'm watching him and he's just struggling with the rope to get it on the pipe. And so I'm like, hey man, what are you doing? He's like, I have no idea. I'm like, oh God, great.
Yeah.
So I was teaching him how to tie a timber hitch from like 10 feet above him. But like, yeah, anyway, it reminds me of those calls.
Yeah. But in stadiums, you do, I don't know, there's all kinds of stuff. In Atlanta, we did pipe fitting. We dealt with the HVAC system, ETFE installs, painting. We painted the Raider Stadium black, and that was an experience, a little bit soul crushing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like it. I like it, I like the physical ass kicking. I don't like the mental ass kicking that comes with that. It's like construction jobs are a bunch of overworked people that are all stressed out and hate each other, and it'll downhill.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of things. A couple of years ago at US Bank, we hung up like 7 miles of blackout curtains in the stadium. So it really depends, I guess what's going on or what phase of construction or.
Are there certain companies that people should try to reach out to with their experience?
Yeah, I tell you what, get a hold of especially entertainment people. Chicago Flyhouse. I don't know what's going on stadium wise, but they deal with a lot of automation, and they kind of.
I wonder if we've got any Chicago Flyhouse people watching, going, "Ah."
No, they're really good company to work with. I've always liked Flyhouse, like good quality act and good outfit to work with. They do more of like the entertaining stuff, like deal with the winches and the curtain systems and all that. And then companies like Reagan International Group, they're taking on more. I think they help pop the roof on the stadium, so they're doing more of the construction side, more just the build kind of stuff, I guess. So
Yeah.
they're kind of, I don't know. There's a couple of little companies like GRA, Regan International Group. They got a pretty good grip on the stadium scene. So I'd probably hit up one of those outfits for sure. And hopefully, get you pointed the right direction.
Can you repeat those? I'm gonna have them on the ticker below.
Global Rope Access. They do a lot of stadium work, and Regan International Group. They're doing some stadium work. Oh, they were. Like I said, there's not a lot of stadium stuff going on right now, at least that I know of. I think all the big builds have wound down now that Raiders Stadium's over. So, and that's kind of, really the big ones in rope access right now where to find work is probably going to be more like traditional rope stuff, whether it be inspection or wind industry. And so, that was part of my...
I got to ask you one more time. Is it Global Ropes Access?
Access.
Not plural. Okay.
No, not plural.
Okay, and then the other one that you had.
Rig out of Vegas, Rig International Group.
Rig Inter. Sorry, guys. I'm not the best type. Like, I'm not a bad typer, but I'm also not the best. We got a ton of comments. All right. Ryan says, I used to be a baseball catcher through college, and we always said a bad day of baseball with your teammates is a better day than a day without baseball. I believe the same applies to rope access most of the time. Long stretches, weeks on end, in the air getting tough, but we love it. And it's not the same without being on a rope. I totally agree. Like, a really shitty day on a job site with a good crew is 10 times better than the opposite. So
I don't know. Betting on the beach in Laguna.
Well, okay, yeah. There's that. But camaraderie at work definitely makes it go by faster. It go by easier. Yeah, I definitely agree, man.
Strong correlation between, I guess the sports world and a rope access team, and that's what I like about rope access, because it's it's an athletic thing, and I need that. And then you're also working with a team, so it's like if you got a team of 4 or a team of 5 and one of them's just not quite cutting it, you're gonna feel it whenever you got a team of 4.5 instead of 5. And so especially on smaller jobs, where your impact is felt a lot more, you definitely got to be sharp. Like, you get on big calls, if you're not the strongest, then you got time to learn. But some situations, it's like, hey, you can get in and keep up kind of thing.
Yeah. Lars has a comment. The climbing part in theater is so strange for me. In the theater I work at, we have a fully automated fly system, and movable chain hoists above. No climbing needed. Might be an American thing. I will say, Lars, that for permanent installs or for inspections, you can do rope access in theaters because you may need to get into some hairy situations. I've been in that situation, so yeah. I don't know if it's an American thing, but I attribute it to as far as climbing in theaters go. I attribute it to like permanent installs type stuff. Connor's got some great. Connor, I'm gonna have you on my show, man. It's not even a question. Like, this is an order. You're gonna be on my show. Go to readinginternationalgroup.com, Global Rope Access. I'm sure you can copy and paste that into your search. Ryan, thank you. Great stuff too. We'll have to have Ryan on the show too. Chicago Fly has some good online training sessions going on through the virus. So does Entertainment Project Services. That's what Eric Rouse is doing. In fact, he's got a class today about splicing rope, which is a really good skill to have. I mean, you may rarely need that, but when you do, man, are you going to be valuable on the job site. There's
a little, you can start your own little hustle splicing ropes for people. Like arborists, they need rope splice all the time. Like sailing, like you could pound at it. Like you could make a business just by splicing ropes. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about
Look, go try it out. Believe in yourself. Go for it. Try it out. And then get back to me. Come on my show and tell us all how successful you were and share your secrets with us. That's good question, David. Harness recommendations, question mark.
I've been using the Petzl Astro. I like it. I think it's more of a return to, I don't know if you guys remember the Navajo, I don't know, about 10 years ago. That was the first harness I was in. I love the Navajo. It didn't quite have enough padding and the buckles weren't big enough, but I think Petzl kind of returned it a little more to the Navajo. So it seems all right. What I found, it took I don't know, it took probably about 1,000 hours to get broken in before the buckles would stay in place. But Skylatech makes a good harness. The Rescue Pro, I think they discontinued that. They're coming out with like a new line of rope harness. I haven't seen them yet, but I think hopefully I'll be getting my hands on some soon. But yeah, there's all kinds of options. But for me, I've kind of stuck with Petzl or Skylatech. So.
Yeah, and there's always the question, what harness is good for females that are climbing? And as a female, my belief is that you need to first get the harness that is appropriate for the job you're doing. So, I mean, let's just be real here, okay? My chest, it's like I got a B size cup. I think I'm like a 34B, okay? So I've got, they're not the smallest of titties, but they're not the biggest of titties either, right? So for me, it doesn't really matter if I've got a Y style or the H style chest harness. However, I'm more likely to get the Y style because that's where I have chest ascender capabilities. So get the harness that's going to be right for the job first. And for me, that just means the Y style. Their comfort has nothing to do with it. And then padding in the legs is good because when you're doing rope access work, you're going to be sitting in that padding. So if you're doing rope access work for long periods of time, you're going to probably you're going to want to invest in a bosun chair.
Yeah, if you're going to
bosun,
then 10 minutes.
Bosun.
Work seat in the rope or rope access.
Yeah, work seat. Generic terms are better to use. I couldn't think of it just now, but none
of these aren't like riding a Cadillac, so just expect that they're all going to feel like crap anyway. So
Yeah, for sure.
All about the work seat.
Yeah, and make sure you get one that's an appropriate size for you as well. I recommend, if you're able to, go to like your local or the closest fall protection distributor and see if you can try on harnesses and just do like a sit test. Do a sit test in it from different attachment points, see how it feels. Because I've sit in harnesses where like it honestly, it digs into the crotch area way too much. So I don't want that harness. So yeah, I'm a fan of the Avao. I haven't tried on too many different harnesses. I'm not a big fan of the Yates Voyager, but again, it comes down to like appropriateness for the job, comfort, and size to fit your body.
Yeah. For me,
one size fits all isn't always good.
Like Yates, that's like a bulky harness, and what I like about the Astro, it's pretty lightweight. It's definitely, it doesn't quite have the robust padding that the Yates does, but I don't know, that just seems to be a little bit less. And for me, I like to make my kit like as light as I can because I don't want to carry more heavy stuff,
Yeah, and like do the hanging test from the different attachment points, especially from the dorsal D-ring, because what I discovered is my Yates harness, it really digs into my neck, and I really don't want that. So I want to try a harness that's going to dig in as little as possible, avoid it if necessary. So
yeah, no, none of them's like riding a Cadillac, that's for sure.
Or Tesla.
Yeah.
Oh, could you imagine? Like, what kind of a harness? What would a Tesla harness be like?
It's like an iron, right? It just puts
it climbs itself.
Hey, the future's looking bright. I think we just hatched a really good idea, Siobhan.
Oh my god. Oh man, can we be sponsored by Tesla? Man, that'd be so great. Ooh, all right, man. That was the funniest thing I've said all day, guys. That's my humor. All right, back on the training. On the topic of training, Delbert Hall and Bill Sapsis also have some good online Zoom chats and training as well. Scanning these comments. Here's a good one. If you're an entertainment rigger or grip, talk to stunt coordinators and key stunt know about how you can enter in the stunt world with rope access and rigging experience. Maybe we'll have to have someone like that on the show.
Brett Copes might know a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was talking to him the other day.
I don't know. Like I've kind of looked into like the Hollywood stuff, and I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I think I don't know. A couple of guys are out there doing some stuff, but I haven't really found like a strong, consistent need for the kind of climbing that I want to do around that. And so
Yeah.
I don't know, there's opportunity. There's got to be on those sets for sure. I'm guessing though, it'd probably be one of those things where, you might do some rope access, but chances are you're going to be something else as well, but that's kind of rope anyway. So anyway, it's whatever you want to do.
There's someone that I have in mind that I actually would like to have on the show. His name is Ollie Laker. He owns, let's see, he's based in the United Kingdom, and he owns Figure 9 Ltd. And I believe he's currently doing a ton of rope work right now for a documentary, which is super awesome. Like, if you're on LinkedIn, go check out his LinkedIn page, check out his content. Or go check out his Instagram, Figure 9 Ltd. It's awesome stuff. It's so cool. I'd like to have him on the show because maybe he can, speak more from the European side of all of this.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I don't know too much about the European side.
Yeah, same. Camp has a newer harness that is a combo of an arborist saddle and rope access. I wonder if that's going to become more popular. The arborist saddle tends to be a little more comfy.
I've heard really good stuff about the camp harnesses, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I've heard that people love them. I know Keith Perry, man, that's all he wants to wear. And I think Trask over Master Point, he's a big camp guy.
Mm-hmm. So glad I can hear from a fellow female. Heidi loves the Petzl Astro, comfy and lots of points to clip equipment on. Excellent.
It's pretty functional, and they went back to the larger size crawl, and so the crawl and the Aveo, it was small, and so it's kind of a little tricky to use at times, and so it's nice having that large crawl back on the Astro as well. So,
yeah,
I like the Astro so far. Last week and this week's I've been wearing Yates, and it's just, I don't know, like I said, it's a bulky harness. I like the Astro. It fits me well.
Sweet. So what else did I have? This is pretty much like the last little banner that I had for us. Go for it, whatever it means, because rope access covers so many different industries. We barely touched the surface. We talked a little bit about stadium work, wind turbine work, bridge work. What other kind of work is out there?
It seems to be that there's finding more and more. A lot of construction companies are getting into it now. There's window cleaning. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. Technical rescue service. You can get into like mountain rescue. That's not necessarily rope access, but it's kind of rope stuff.
Although I think mountain rescue is a volunteer thing. So
yeah, I don't know all that much about it. Like I said, I'm not too. I don't know. I don't get into it a whole lot, but I don't know. You hit on it earlier. It's like, just find something that you kind of like and just go nuts on it, because otherwise, if you half-ass it, you're not really gonna get too far. So don't be afraid, and cut out all the noise. I think the biggest part for me just getting going, rope access is an industry where you're very much right or you're very much wrong. As you're learning, you're often wrong, and so some people pick on you and beat you up a little bit. So just cut out the noise. Forget what everybody else is doing or saying. It's like, just keep your head down and keep focusing on you. You know what I mean? If you start listening to those other voices, that's, part of the reason I don't post a lot of stuff online like LinkedIn. It's just because it's like, you post something you think is going to be useful, then you get all the trolls coming out in the rope world. And it's like, yeah, I just wasted my time and yours, So, but patience and consistency, then just, like I said, go for it. All in. Otherwise, you get nowhere.
I really like a comment you made earlier. It's not as bad to be broke for 4 years than it is to be broke for 40 years. It's when you're investing in yourself, these things can take time, but once you get rolling, it's kind of like a snowball effect. When you'll get more and more work as you go along. But yeah, definitely invest in yourself. Have patience. So.
Yeah, I think if you got the vision for it, and that, that's, I guess, part of the other thing. Just if you got the sight to know where you want to go, you can hook yourself up for life in 3 to 5 years if you're really good about it. So,
yeah.
For me, that's my goal. It's pretty lofty. Here I am saying this in public, but my goal, I want to hit my mid 40s and just be cruising. Like that would be awesome. So how do I do it?
Yeah. Well, your video has gone out because you've just left us to go make it happen. I'm just kidding. Yeah. Lars says he saw some rope access jobs disassembling and assembling cranes. Yeah, that might be fun. Here's another job that I've seen. It's like in the mountains. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. It's like geotechnical work.
Hey, yeah, that reminds me of GeoVert out of Denver. Another really good company to work for. So if you want to get in like geotechnical stuff, they got it. They did the rockfall mitigation out at Hoover Dam and all that stuff. To me, that's kind of scary, but you know,
That's what I want.
yeah,
I love mountains.
yeah, no, nice being in the mountains, but you know, hanging on to a massive drill just all day, that's gonna beat you up. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe fun,
Yeah.
maybe I don't know. I'd try it, but no, I really Steve at GeoVert, like super good guy, really good outfit to work with for sure. So anyway, there's a plug for GeoVert. So, but you know, like my thing is, like I said, network is like, you know, I know, you know, all these people in the industry mainly because, you know, I've worked with them at some point or another, and so, you know, you keep those relationships. And, you know, because a lot of things, even, you know, I got my own thing going, you know, there's been times it's like I got a dry spell. It's like, well, hey, whoever, you got anything, let me know. Oh, sure. Yeah, come on out, you know. So,
So, wow, come back. The other day I did a live stream with Meredith Mitnick, and she had a really good point. She said, you should be networking even when you don't need something, because if you're only networking with people when you need something, it might come off as like salesperson-y. You're not building that rapport with someone, and you might come off as desperate, or whatever negative connotation you want to associate with that action. But yeah, you should always be networking, even if you're sitting pretty on a job that you've been on for 15 plus years. Like, look what happened with Disney. All those people, that is such a secure job, and that is like the end goal for so many people, and it is a wonderful place to be. But then this shit happened. COVID happened, and now everybody, they've just laid off 32,000 people. So even if you are in a secure position, you should still be networking, and there is so much power in it. I will preach networking all day, every day.
With the networking, I think kind of important perspective, and I'm maybe not the best at it, but dial it back like a generation or two, and like think about how your grandparents used to talk to people and approach people. Like, they were the OGs of it. They were gonna like go down the street and bake you cookies and say hi to everybody up and down the street. It's like they're not gonna say hi because they want something. You see what like what you mentioned earlier. It's like you can't just go to people when you just want money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, it's like just kind of think like your grandparents did and really make those relationships. And the people that you work with, well, it's cool to get to the point like, hey, how's your family doing? How's the holidays? And all that kind of,
and even though we live in such a fast-paced digital world, bring back the human aspect of networking. Bring back the human aspect of connection. Like you said, ask someone about their family and their kids and their hobbies. After you apply for a job, send them a thank you note, send them a handwritten thank you note, or get in touch with someone. Like, just bring back the human aspect in any way that you can. It's super important.
I had a boss, he would always say, win the easy points. And that's, one thing that stuck with me. It's like, it's easy to be on time. It's easy to look somebody in the eye when you shake their hands. It's easy to put on a stick of deodorant and not smell terrible, easy points, then whenever you screw something up, you got a little wiggle room. You know what I mean? Also, if they know they can count on you to take care of just even the little things, and that's going to build a lot of trust and relationship, and that's going to further the relationship. So that's it. Just get to know people, win the easy points, and don't go to people when you
Yeah, definitely. I've had this question sitting here for a while, and I think it's a great question. What is the average income for a rope access person?
Oh man, that depends on your ambition. I know guys that sat on Raider Stadium for a year and probably made over six figures. And I know people that that just don't really like to work. So depends what you get into, what industry really. Some industries are going to pay better than others. That's for sure. Depends on the hours. Just I don't know. I don't really know what if you're inspecting full-time, like offshore oil and gas, I'm guessing you're doing pretty well, but I don't really know. I don't know the dollar amount that comes in, but I think you're doing all right.
Yeah. But again, back to networking, you can always go out these people who are in these different industries and ask them questions. People like when they're asked questions. People like it when you make them feel important. So, go look at these different rope access industries and just shoot a message to people. Get to know other people in these industries and start asking these questions and make comparisons between them. I think that's a great way to answer this question, because it really does depend on all these different things. It depends on the job, industry, location,
It
definitely.
depends what you're willing to take on. I think part the amount of money you can make is determined by the amount of stress you can handle. So, without like showing my hand too much, there's certain things that you can do that will increase your earning potential. Like, I don't know, get an insurance policy for your company, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's probably things you can do, even apart from, starting your own company that can help increase your potential. I know I had that goal. I don't know, I guess about 4 years ago now, I was leaving. It was the last full-time job I worked. And I said, you know what, like, I got to make more than I'm making now. How am I going to do it? And, I've just been watching that consistent climb over the past few years. And so, a lot of, just got to think about it really. Just who do you want to be valuable to, and what can you do for them? Like my goal this year, I put a lot of emphasis in wind energy. So now, I can go to these big time wind guys and say, hey, I can train your people to work at height, and we also can fix your blades, and, we do a few other things for you. And so that's valuable, and that get paid to do that. You know what I mean? So it's like, once you create value, money's a byproduct. So just figure out where the value is first, or where you want to be valuable.
Yeah, really, really, really good point there. And drop Connor a line, and he will tell you exactly what pay range you should expect. And Ryan mentions that the arborist industry is always looking for good climbers, riggers, and they do some of the most complex rigging on a consistent basis. Really, really good stuff.
That stuff scares me, Ryan. I ain't gonna go climb no trees. But it's good. I think you're doing. I don't know, something about like ropes and chainsaw. I don't know. So.
Yeah. All right. So I'm at the end of my list of like topics I wanted to cover. If anybody has any last minute questions for Trevor, please let us know in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm going to start wrapping this up here. Trevor, where can people find you?
Ropetechnologies.com. You can probably find me on LinkedIn. That's a good spot. That's a good spot to get in touch with me. Email trevor.whipkey@ropetechnologies.com. I mean, I don't know, 1,000 ways. So I'm sure you can find my phone number somewhere. It's not too hard to find on the Rope Tech page. So I don't know, call me. I like phone calls. It's been quarantine. I'm out on the road and just gets lonely. So somebody.
Yeah.
I'm happy to answer any questions. I certainly don't know everything about this, but I'm here to help you guys out. So however I can do that, I'm very happy to do it. So
awesome. We covered a lot of topics here, and this is very centered around rope access, and we're a little biased coming from the United States, so most of the information is going to be geared towards that. But hopefully you guys have found this very informative and educational, and hopefully something resonates with you and helps you move forward with your career. Like, I just want nothing but the best for every single person who watches this content. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to Industry Explorers on YouTube. And when we hit 100 subscribers, I know this is a really low number, but it's my first milestone right now. When we hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to live stream me doing the 1 chip challenge. Go look that up. It is a super hot chip. Like, you're not supposed to eat this chip if you're pregnant, have any medical issues, and you need to seek medical attention if you start like vomiting or like there's a whole disclosure statement on the back of this chip. So I'm gonna live stream it, and it's gonna make me cry. And I, like, my boyfriend bought it for me for Halloween, but I was like, no, not until I get 100 subscribers. What was that?
You've already got the chip ready to go. Then you just got to eat it.
Oh yeah. I should.
All right, well, hey, it's gonna happen.
It's downstairs. I should have had it ready so that I could show you guys. But yeah, go look up the 1 chip challenge. I can't wait to do it. So help me get to 100 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen, and check out some of our other videos too. We cover topics from mental health to resume writing, job searching skills, interview skills. We've covered a lot, and a lot of it is geared towards events and entertainment. So, when I hit 100 subscribers, I get a free IRATA course to give away to one of my followers. What? That's a great way to, whoa. Okay, hold on. That's a fucking great idea. Okay. When we hit 100 subscribers, Connor is going to give away a free IRATA course to give away to one of my followers. We're going to make that happen. Connor, this is in writing. It's happened. Like, if it's not written, it's not policy, but here it is written right here, Connor. We're going to hold you to it. And that is such a great way to support this channel and to support people who are getting into the rope access industry. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for your support. Love it, love it, love it. Check out our other videos. Leave me a comment, or like, leave a message. Let me know what other topics you're interested in. And yeah, I'm here to help you guys. This is what I want. I just want you guys to do well. And another thing that we're doing is we're going on, let me see, on Sunday the 13th, we are going to do a mental health Q&A with a therapist. So watch out for that. Go to that event. And if you have any questions regarding mental health, we're here to answer them for you. I've got a therapist with me, and we have a Google form that you can fill out prior to the event to protect your privacy. So yeah, because COVID, it's really tough right now, and we just want to be here for you. So thank you guys for supporting Industry Explorers. Like and subscribe. And yeah, Trevor, do you have any last minute thoughts?
No, I think I'm all good.
Awesome, dude. It was so great having you. It was so great shooting the shit and goofing around and providing really great information for everybody. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you on our next adventure. Take care.